You are watching Travel World Online.
The Covishield version of AstraZeneca didn't find place in EU's Green Pass list. Culture Ministry clarifies that media reports about the missing artifacts of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose is completely untrue. Delhi eased restrictions as it witnesses a decline in corona cases. Rove is the only on-site hotel at Expo 2020, Dubai. Raffles the Palm Dubai to open in last quarter of this year. Tamil Nadu continues to register a steady decline in the number of COVID-19 cases. France, Germany, Spain and Italy are taking precautionary measure of suspending use of AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca has already been suspended in Netherlands, Ireland, Iceland, Bulgaria, Denmark and Norway because of the possible side effect of blood clotting. Domestically manufactured Covishield, a version of the AstraZeneca vaccine, is not included in the list of anti-COVID-19 jabs that are eligible to avail the European Union's Green Pass. Green Pass, which would be available from 1st July, can be used for unrestricted movement in all EU member states for business and tourism purposes. The European Medicines Agency has so far cleared 4 vaccines: Kineti from Pfizer and BioNTech, Moderna, Vaxzevria from AstraZeneca and Janssen from Johnson & Johnson. On this development, Adar Poonawalla, CEO and owner Serum Institute of India, tweeted, he said, "I realize that a lot of Indians who have taken Covishield are facing issues with travel to the European countries. I assure everyone, I have taken this up at the highest levels and hope to resolve this matter soon, both with regulators and at a diplomatic level with countries." Accor has updated plans to open its first Raffles resort in the Middle East in partnership with Emerald Palace Group on the iconic Palm Jumeirah. Set to open in the last quarter of this year, Raffles the Palm Dubai will be the first ultra-luxury addition to the existing diverse portfolio in Dubai, with 389 luxurious rooms, starting from 65 square meter, suites and villas, each of them featuring a balcony and terrace opening to sweeping vistas of the sea. Complementing this will be the signature Raffles butler service.
Welcome, Mr. Pushkar. Mr. Pushkar, please tell us, during this pandemic, what is the need of the hour?
We have to take a very cautious step as far as the current situation is concerned with regard to the tourism. We should keep in mind that we are not yet over with COVID. We have a lot of challenges to face in the coming days also. In fact, now we have experience of 1.5 years or close to that period. Last year, probably February, we had the first case in India, and thereafter we have seen long lockdowns and the way the entire tourism industry and all the industries got affected. And we were probably thinking that now we have overcome that and we are completely comfortable. In fact, we started making good revenues in tourism from December onwards. In fact, Jungle Lodges made record revenues from December to March every month for its last 40 years of history. But then we could see the change. Suddenly what happened in April suddenly again brought a break on the entire thing. And currently the numbers have come down. Again it may rise. That is what is the speculation. Any kind of a epidemiology, probably the pandemics do have 2-3 different waves. So we have to be prepared till the time we are very sure that we are out of it. Now we are also talking of the Delta Plus variant. Now even if we have the vaccines, whether it is going to be effective against the new variant, we do not know. So the first and foremost thing which I would like to say is that if we want to survive in the industry of tourism, we have to be careful. We can move around. See, we have seen a lot of people moving around, mingling up. But then if you are following the basic discipline, the COVID appropriate behavior, we all would be safe and we can continue with our activities without getting badly affected. So this is what is my take. I mean, see, vaccination is going on at a very fast pace. In fact, last 2-3 days, Bangalore has been #1 city as far as the number of vaccinations being administered to the people. Bangalore itself has crossed more than 45 lakh vaccinations. So almost 40% of the population, or rather 50% of the population which is eligible to get the vaccination has already been vaccinated. We have been doing all our best efforts, but at the same time, we are also cautious, and we need to continue to be cautious in the coming times.
Very rightly said, sir. That's what I'm talking about. Can we start moving cautiously now? This is the time when we can also start some kind of COVID certificate, COVID passport, and where you can start moving with, if you have taken both the doses, with cautious step, you will start moving on.
You are very right, Sharmaji. We have to basically move on. In US, probably they have gone one step ahead, where they took a decision that people who have taken both the vaccines, now they do not need to wear mask. But in our country, we will take that decision probably at a later stage of time. But then, yes, COVID certificates can be the passports to travel. That is one kind of a thing which we need to look at, and probably that will help us a lot. From our side, see, Karnataka is one of the probably the first state and the only state where the hospitality and tourism sector workers were declared as the frontline workers in the month of May itself, when the category of people who have to be considered as frontline workers for the vaccination was being decided. Karnataka decided that the hospitality and tourism people would be part of it. And as a result of that, today almost all the people in the tourism sector and the hospitality sector, they are all vaccinated. So we are safe, and we will also ensure that our guests are also safe. So the protocols will be in place. At the same time, the protocols are very strict this time. We have opened up, in fact, out of 30 districts, 25 districts have been opened up, looking at the positivity rate of different districts. And once it comes below 5% positivity rate, then only that district is also getting unlocked. But unlock is also in a graded manner. We have been allowed to operate with 50% occupancy, whether it is a hotel or a resort or a restaurant. So we are going in a very cautious manner. So we have to maintain all the COVID protocols. But the point which you raised is very fine. We cannot ask for the RT-PCR reports every time to the guests. But then if we take that decision that people who have the vaccination certificates, they are authorized to move with their passport or the certificate, that will be really helpful.
Our government have got all the records. Whoever is vaccinated in government facilities, their certificate is already there on the system. We can connect them, and the people who are getting from outside the private, they can have their digital certificates with them.
So we don't need to basically depend on the government database to look at it. Every individual is having his own certificate, which is downloaded from the COVID app. So that is the certificate which we can validate with their QR code also, and or through the digital mode itself. If it is shared with us, we can look at it and then allow the people to. But then currently none of the states have given that kind of a direction with regard to the entry to the hotel or resorts are concerned. But then, as I understand, number of states have told that if you have the COVID vaccination certificate, you can travel by air or by road or anything, come from different states to our state based on your vaccination certificate. So that has already started. So in the travel sector, the recognition is being given, and then probably it is also going to happen across the globe. So if you are having a valid vaccination certificate of a accepted vaccine, you can travel anywhere. That is what will come up very shortly, and that will open the doors for the tourism.
And that's what we all are expecting. Because if it won't open, we won't open up, people will die with starvation.
Yes, so the industry is in a very bad shape. I must tell you, not only the private people, even organizations, the government organizations like Jungle Lodges and KSTDC, we are also financially in a very, very bad shape. And last year's shock was not less. This year again we are going through it. and we are keeping fingers crossed what is going to happen in the next few months also. And a lot of people have lost their livelihood businesses as well as the jobs which tourism has been providing to them. Government has been trying to support as much as possible. In case of Karnataka, the Honorable Chief Minister was very kind to actually give some kind of a subsistence allowance to all the taxi drivers and operators. They also decided to give some kind of incentive or a livelihood amount to the tour guides also. That also has been announced. Recently, there has been some kind of a decision with regard to the waiving off of the or reduction of the property tax for 2 to 3 months time. So number of positive decisions are being taken by the government to support the industry. But then these are all very small things compared to the entire scenario. You know that Karnataka, the tourism industry contributes to almost 14.8% of the state's GDP. And that's a huge amount. And the loss which has happened, in fact, everyone agrees that tourism is the most badly affected sector. See, when you talk about the other industry, your probably production is stopped for some time and then you can increase the production again. But here, whatever you have lost is lost forever. If you did not do a business on a day, you have lost that kind of a revenue or the profit options. So that is what has actually affected all of us very badly. Large number of people have suffered. We only wish that at the earliest things come back to normal, but then I would say that at least for next 1 year, we all need to be very, very careful. So let us not forget all the things which we have gone through. We have to be careful. We have to ensure the COVID appropriate behavior, and vaccination is one of the most important thing which we have to look at.
So what's the situation of jungle lodges? What kind of bookings are there? If there's some booking, when did you open? And what are future plans?
The unlock for the hotel segment started only on 21st of June. That was 3 days back. And it started with 13 districts, and then in last another couple of days, now it has gone up to 25 districts. Our prime property of Kabini is still closed because it comes under Mysore district, and Mysore district is under locks. So, but then the other properties which we have opened up, as I remember, out of 26, we have opened up 20 properties, and there is a good demand for all of them. I was surprised to see that as soon as we have opened up, in fact, we have to have only 50% occupancy, and many of our resorts are getting that 50% occupancy. I've given a promotional rate also till 4th of July. Rates have really reduced so that at least people get more motivated to come out and then spend some time in the nature. So our response also has been extremely good, and I'm pretty sure that in the coming days, if the COVID is kept under control, we'll have good occupancy in jungle lodges.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
When do you expect to open up the fully producer?
Difficult to predict, but then yes, see, all the districts would be open by 5th of July. This is what is my expectation. But then it may not be 100% occupancy which may be allowed immediately. So probably around mid of July we can look at a situation. If the things are under control, the government may allow us to open up all the properties with full occupancy, but with COVID appropriate behavior or the COVID protocols. So mid of July is what we expect, that when the tourism can fully start operating.
I would like to ask you only one thing, last question. When we talk of if we allow vaccinated people in the property, all vaccinated staff, what is the hitch with opening up with 100% occupancy in that scene?
So that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That can definitely happen. That would be a very safe option to actually go ahead with it.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
While talking during a webinar organized by SCAL International on topic tourism sustainability and recovery, Bill Rome, President SCAL International 2021 said,
"It is a pleasure to join everybody, really. It is, and I bring greetings from SCAL International. Now, speaking on sustainable tourism and staying positive, the connection between those two can be very broad-reaching. And it's quite challenging given the current circumstances and the nature of the crisis that we find ourselves in. We are at the very early stages of recovery, tourism recovery. While vaccinations are facilitating the gradual reopening of some parts of the world, the ability of tourists to travel freely between countries is still very limited. Too many restrictions and concerns persist, and while we likely will not see the removal of all those restrictions and the return to any kind of normal travel until the end of 2022, what we can be positive about is the ability to explore the wonderful experiences closer to home. Being a tourist in your own country is how our industry must face the challenges that still exist in the short term. As colleagues, we have a duty and a responsibility to support each other's businesses wherever and whenever possible. As we move towards tourism recovery, it's also important for us to understand what the consumer will be looking for and how to position our businesses to service those needs. People's interests will have changed. How they travel, where and how long they stay, and what they do when they get there all forms part of sustainable tourism. And the sustainable tourism has often been referenced in the context of the global tourism recovery. The UNWTO defines sustainable tourism as tourism that takes full account of its current and future economic, social, and environmental impacts, addressing the needs of visitors, the industry, and the environmental and host communities. Sustainable tourism guidelines and management practices are applicable to all forms of all types of destinations. The principles refer to the environment, the economic and social economic aspects of tourism development, as well as a suitable balance must be found and established between these three dimensions in order to guarantee long-term sustainability. What does this mean to us? Well, it means that our businesses must offer sustainable tourism experiences. The activities or experiences developed to a destination or in a destination represent the third component of tourism spending on a global level, just below accommodation and transportation. In 2017, the activity segment grew 27% according to TripAdvisor data, and 65% of the visitor satisfaction level during those trips revolved around experiences. Booking.com reported that 58% of travelers will spend more on experiences than on retail purchases and consumption. Travel opens up again. Tourists will search for the experiential tourism to link them to the destination. Health and wellness tourism suggests that the wellness economy may reach a global level of $3 trillion. The aging population, factors such as the increase of health-related issues like COVID, and lifestyles are all contributing to this trend. Wellness tourism travelers are likely to spend 130% more than a regular tourist. Operators should be looking at creating healthy experiences, and in 2019, 1 out of every 5 travelers planned a health and wellness trip, almost twice as many as the previous year. Post-COVID travel will emphasize this trend again, promoting a healthy lifestyle experience to visitors, including offering local products, will position your business to capitalize on this portion or segment of the economy. The innovation of tourism sector, travel and planning trends, is also critically important. The digital domain and specifically the inclusion of virtual reality in the planning of a trip will allow the travelers to literally try before they buy, helping them to unlock what is unknown, gain an understanding of the destination, and motivate them to see and what they're going to experience in real time. The inclusion of innovative elements in the tourism industry is closely related to the mobile applications. The use of search engines, direct purchases of services, the use of social networks, and the consumption of streaming content are the most valued innovations in the tourism industry. 52% of travelers say they could not travel without Google Maps, along with the 36% who would not travel without the possibility of making online reservations, and add another 24% who would not travel without roaming. Members of the Generation Z, the new travelers, are on average up to 4 times more likely to use smartphones to search or book a trip than the baby boomers, which means that mobiles, already widely used by the millennials, will soon become increasingly prevalent as it becomes essential. Whatever your business is, whatever you're adopting a plan that acknowledges and includes sustainable practices, it is essential to the industry for recovery. Change can be unsettling, even scary, but one of the benefits of change is the fact that you have the opportunity to shape and decide what your future will look like. From Skull's perspective, as we navigate through the unknown that we've seen and experienced for the last 15 months, we need to stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start being excited about what could go right. I wish you all very success and prosperity, and Skull. Thank you.
Today we have Mr. Rajiv Nagia with us. He is the Chief Operating Officer, Truck Representation Private Limited. Welcome, Mr. Nagia.
Thank you very much.
So, what all destinations you are representing in India?
So I personally take care of Monaco tourism in India, and as track we also look after other destinations like Jamaica, Cheval residencies, collections, and some other project-based assignments with Madrid and other countries. So taking the conversation forward, I mean, we all know there's nothing to hide about it, but since year 2020 onwards, it's been a very, very challenging time. And as we go further, I mean, there was a hope that, this summer we will see little uptake, but unfortunately the second wave has really, to a certain extent that hope has been negated. But I'm still quite positive about the whole environment of outbound market from India. For a simple reason, the more we speak to travel trade or with the consumers, the more we find that eagerness to travel is enhancing and increasing day by day. So I think it's a matter of time before the borders open that Indians will be among one of the top community to start traveling again. That is how I see the future. And I'm sure there are many other professionals in our travel trade who will agree with my view on the same.
How important is to connect? What all you are doing to connect with your customers and the trade?
So it is imperative now. It has been imperative earlier also, but earlier we were meeting them in physical events on ground during various consumer or trade shows. But now it has become even more important. The only thing which has changed over a period of last 1.5 years or so is the way we meet. So we are meeting more digitally now, and we're meeting with very precise audiences rather than a very large number of audiences. So that is a small difference which has come. But I'm sure going further, this is going to be now a norm under new normal circumstances, where digital will play a very important role, and it has already started playing that role. And there will be various platforms on the digital model which will be emerging, which have emerged, which will be emerging further also. So connecting with whether it is travel trade or whether it is with consumer has been very important to keep them aspiring and to keep them informed as to what is happening, and also to keep them engaged with the destination, with the product, with the thought of revival of travel.
Shrangia, tourism presentations used to be all about one-to-one meeting and road shows and all. But during this pandemic, everything is on virtual mode. All meetings are on Zoom or other platforms. So do you think this virtual will run the market? This will overtake the real meeting world?
We have been noticing, and we have been witnessing, we have been involved in various such kind of events digitally. What I foresee in future, that these platforms are going to be there. They're not going to diminish anymore. This is the way of life, and we have to accept this way of life going further. I mean, though I would love to do road shows the way we used to do earlier, but I think virtual you can't negate anymore. That is what my personal opinion is. And I think it's more time saving, more focused, and also economically viable. So I think this model is going to be there. Whether it gets hybrided with online, offline, whatever, that's something which is a matter of innovation. However, I have one concern which I want to mention, that digitally, to catch the attention and to keep retaining your clients or to retain the, and motivate trade, we need to innovate, and that is what the focus should be on.
Please tell us about your activities during this pandemic.
So we are sharing all the information that is prevalent. We have in fact on a public relation platform vis-a-vis media, we have recently also launched for you just now at last, sorry, for you at last for Monaco campaign has been launched. So we are going further with it. We know currently borders don't allow us to travel, or there are restrictions in travel, but I mean, I foresee that these restrictions are not going to continue forever, for sure. So I mean, we are not stopping from doing our promotions. That is what I want to say. Though the way we used to do earlier and the way we are doing now, there can be a little change.
What strategy you are following to market this now? What all and your planning, future plans?
No, we have to keep our plans dynamic. I mean, currently the way situations are, and till March everybody was feeling everything is hunky-dory, and we were going all, I mean, we saw a lot of engagement during, even in domestic tourism, we saw a lot of international, where the borders were open, a lot of international travel also happening. But come April, and we saw what happened. So I mean, whatever we had planned during April, May had to put on hold. So we have to be dynamic in our planning and the way we go forward during these times, at least till we know that, okay, this is now under control, or this is how future will lie. So while we plan for the whole year, but implementation remains dynamic to a certain extent.
what is the need of the hour? And what are the important points you think is a must to promote as any destinations?
Any destination, whether it is locally within domestic, regional, or over long haul or short haul, I think it is imperative now to keep our focus on the particular market we are looking at, particular segment we want to target. We have to become more focused and more strategically aligned with our travel trade partners, as well as moving forward towards very specific approach rather than just anybody and everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Nagia, talking to us. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
You are watching Travel World Online.